Recumbent stone circles are unique to North East Scotland. Although South West Island has monuments with the same name, they are different. They are named after the recumbent stone that lies between the two upright flankers. They date to between 2700 and 2000 BC. This example is at Strichen. All these circles have their smallest upright stones diametrically opposite the recumbent. The stones gradually increase in size to the largest stones, the flankers. There is usually a ring bank of earth and stones creating a platform extending up to or just beyond the upright stones. Recumbent stone circles all have a central cairn and all have evidence of large fires under them before the cairn was built. These are all very shallow and cannot be made out today. No human remains, burnt or otherwise, have ever been found in the cairns. Adam Welfare, in his book on recumbent stone circles, called Great Crowns of Stone, suggests that these cairns were token cairns that didn't form part of any actual funeral rite. The recumbents and flankers of these monuments range in orientation from the south-southeast at Ardlair to halfway between the southwest and the west-southwest at Tomnavery. These impressive features confound our expectations by not being aligned to any topographical feature or astronomic event, such as the rising or setting of the sun, the moon, or a constellation. Adam Welfare believes that these recumbent stone circles were monuments of closure of a revered site of cremation or other sacred fires, and date to a time when, for whatever reason, these sites were no longer to be used and were respectfully given a fitting monument. The symbolic cairn suggests this, as does the fact that these monuments with their rising platforms, graded stone sizes rising to the flankers, and recumbents all conspire to create their greatest impression when viewed from outside the circle, facing the flankers, which suggest a doorway, and the recumbent, so similar to the recumbent across the entrance to the New Grange tumulus in Ireland, a statement of closure of that door. The Bronze Age started around 4,200 years ago and ended with the arrival of iron use between 2,500 and 2,800 years ago, or between 800 and 500 BC. This settlement consists of a total of 19 huts. The floors were sunk into the sand underlying a heath surface and covered with red clay or paving stones. The walls formed by banking up the excavated sand and stabilizing it with clay and turf to carry a stone curb. Inside, posts supported the roof timbers. The small finds were discovered both within and outside the huts, indicating the period as being the end of the Bronze Age. Much of the site is overblown with sand, and only 2 hut circles can be seen today. One interesting feature of the village is that, without exception, all the doorways of the hut circle faced east. If the dominant winds were the same then as they are now, with prevailing westerlies, the usual wind direction, and dominant southeasterlies, where the wind is not so frequent but strongest when it does come from that direction, then the door's orientation would have protected the dwelling's interiors from wind most of the time, but northeasterly might have afforded the best all-round wind protection. A due east orientation means that the sun rose immediately opposite the doors on 2 days of the year, on the 21st of March and the 21st of September, the dates of the vernal and autumnal equinoxes, which may have been significant days in their religious calendar. In 1951, A ring cairn lying on a sand-covered gravel ridge several hundred yards from the late Bronze Age, early Iron Age settlement was revealed in blown sand and excavated. 3 such cairns can be seen close together today. A ring cairn is a curb of stones that would probably have been clear in the middle and so would always have been a low-lying, flat structure. In the middle of the one excavated, there was black earth with charcoal and a number of white quartz fragments at the base of the layer. Large quantities of burnt bone were also found. Shreds of late Bronze Age pottery was also found too. It seems that this site was used for cremating the dead and as such would have been a doorway to the beyond. W. Kirk, an archaeologist in 1953, was of the opinion that the settlement and cairn are contemporary, on the evidence of pottery found both in the huts and in the primary cremation in the ring cairn. But another archaeologist named Henschel states that similar pottery discovered in recumbent stone circles at Old Keeg and Lone Head of Daviot has been shown to be secondary, in other words, not placed there at the same time as the circles were built or even in use. So this could possibly also be the case for the primary cairn's pottery. Forviekirk lies at the northern end of Forvie National Nature Reserve's beach, just inland from Rock End. It is all that remains of the medieval village of Forvie, being the only stone building. For many years, it was hidden by sand. The kirk was built sometime during the 12th century on the site of an older chapel, possibly dating back to the 8th, and is dedicated to Saint Adomnan, the 9th abbot of Iona, in succession from Saint Columba. Adomnan died in AD 704, and his feast day is the 23rd of September. Although a small kirk, it has 2 doors opposite each other at the western end of the kirk's northern and southern walls. Why this would be is uncertain. Possibly it was a separate entrance for the priest or the laird and his family. One explanation for the 2 doors lies in the so-called Devil's Door, which was often built into early churches that may have been built on pre-Christian sacred sites. The northern door allowed pagans to still visit. Whilst this seems unlikely, it is known that in Norway, pagans could attend church services but not take the sacrament if they had been prime signed, which means having had a cross traced over them by a priest. This allowed the pagans to attend in the hope that they would then wish to convert. Another more bizarre explanation of the Devil's Door was that in the Middle Ages the devil was believed to reside in the soul of an unbaptized child. When expelled on the child's baptism, the devil had to have a means of escape through the northern door. The kirk has recently been repointed in limestone mortar, which would have been used originally by Scottish Natural Heritage, who managed the reserve. This photograph of the interior shows the ambry or aumbry in which were kept the holy oils used in the sacraments of the Roman Catholic Church.